Hello friends, today we will start the next topic of kinematics of particle, that is D'Alembert's principle. So as we know, in the last lecture we discussed Newton's second law of motion. So students, quickly revise that Newton's second law of motion. So if you see this slide, you can see this figure. So in this figure, one body is placed over the smooth ground and a system of force, that is capital F, is acting over that body. M is the mass of that body and Rn is the normal reaction which is perpendicular to the body, and the weight of that body is passing through Cg, that is mg. Okay, and what our Newton's second law of motion say? The resultant of the system of the forces acting on the body is directly proportional to product of mass of the body and acceleration acting over that body. So see this is the Newton's second law of motion in mathematical form. Okay, now what is the meaning of this mathematical form? A body is subjected to a resultant force of the same mass in kg, then body accelerates with an acceleration of a in the direction of the resultant force. So see the last sentence of this statement. What is the direction of the acceleration? The direction of the acceleration is same as the direction of the force. So see in the figure, we can clearly say that the direction of the force is in the positive x direction. So this acceleration is also in the positive x direction. Okay, so this is the Newton's second law of motion. Now see, R is equal to summation of f of x is equal to ma. So what is summation of f of x? Summation of all the forces acting on the body. Either that forces is horizontal force, vertical force or inclined force. You take summation of all that forces. So equate that forces is equal to mass into acceleration. So again, students, remember, while taking summation of the forces, you take care sign convention of the forces. If in case of horizontal forces, take positive sign if that F is towards the positive x direction. Take negative sign if that force acting towards negative x direction. In case of vertical force, if force is acting upward, take positive. If that force acting downward, take negative sign convention. Okay, and if it is inclined, then resolve that force into two components, x component and y component. Okay, so this part we already discussed during concurrent force system. Okay? Once you find out summation of all the forces acting on the body, you just equate to mass into acceleration. Okay, now take next. See this product, mass into acceleration, means mass is measured in kg and multiplied by acceleration measured in meter per second square. Once you do this conversion, you getting one quantity, that is Newton, and Newton is nothing but your force. Okay, so this part we already discussed in the previous video lecture. Now today, see the next part. So take same equation, summation of f of a is equal to mass into acceleration. So take this m a towards RHS side. So which equation you get? This equation, summation of f plus in bracket ma bracket close is equal to 0, where minus ma, or we can say ma, is inertia force, and that inertia force is always acts in opposite direction of the resultant force. So that's why if you see this equation, what is the sign for ma? Negative. So this negative sign indicates the direction of ma, that is inertia force, is opposite to the resultant or summation of all the forces acting on the body. Okay, so now see the next. We can use this equation in component form also. Suppose let us derive this unit along x-axis. So how to write this equation along x-axis? See here, summation of f of x plus in bracket minus m ax bracket complete is equal to 0. Then along y-axis, how to write this equation? Summation of f of y plus in bracket minus may bracket complete is equal to 0. So student, see that two equation carefully. What you observe? So summation of f of x means summation of all the horizontal forces acting on the body, whether that forces towards positive x direction, negative x direction, you take all the summation of that forces. And one more thing is here, ax. So what is ax? That is acceleration in x direction. Okay, but here one question arises, why we don't take m suffix x or moment mass in x direction? Because we know mass is a scalar quantity, means mass have only quantity, not direction. But whereas f force and acceleration have a vector quantity, means that terms have quantity as well as direction. So that's why we define this f and a in x direction, and m you take as it is, that is mass of the body. So similarly along y-axis, take summation of f of y and acceleration along the y direction. Okay, so this is for straight line. Suppose you take the motion along curve, that is curvilinear motion, then you getting the equation along tangent of the curve, that is summation of f of t plus in bracket minus m a suffix t bracket complete is equal to 0. Means summation of f of t means summation of all the forces that is tangent to the curve, because here we consider curvilinear motion, and at means tangential acceleration. Okay, similarly if you take the forces along normal direction, then your equation becomes summation of f of n plus in bracket m a suffix n is equal to 0. So here an means acceleration along normal to the curve. I think you clear this. So now let us concentrate our main point, that is D'Alembert's principle. What is D'Alembert's principle says? See here, according to the D'Alembert's principle, summation of f of plus in bracket minus ma is equal to 0. See, we observed the same figure that we already discussed in the previous during Newton's second law of motion, but here one difference is there. What is the difference, student? This m a we show in opposite to the F. Why? Because in our mathematical equation we clearly say ma acting in the opposite direction of the resultant of the forces. Okay, so that ma we already know, ma is nothing but inertia force. So this is the basic difference between D'Alembert's principle and Newton's second law of motion. So in Newton's second law of motion, this ma term is on the LHS side and summation of f of a is on the RHS side. But here in D'Alembert's principle, this ma term we take on the RHS side, so that the sign for ma is negative. So this is according to the D'Alembert's principle, and this ma is nothing but inertia force. Now students, here one interesting thing is that this equation is called as a dynamic equilibrium equation. What is the name of that equation? It is a dynamic equilibrium of equation. So what is the meaning of dynamic equilibrium equation? See here student, summation of f means the force acting over the body, at the same time one more force acting, but it is in opposite direction of the applied force, that is ma, inertia force. So this summation of f and this ma should be equal. If both the terms are equal, means we achieve a dynamic equilibrium. So that's why this equation is called as a dynamic equilibrium equation. Or in another word, we can say D'Alembert's principle is also called as a dynamic equilibrium equation. So students, remember this dynamic equilibrium of equation, because under this unit we solve some problem based on this principle. Okay? So let us move to the next slide. Now see the statement of D'Alembert's principle. So according to this principle, a system of forces acting on a body in motion is in equilibrium, in bracket dynamic equilibrium, with the inertia force. So I think you clear this statement, because we already discussed the explanation of this statement in the previous slide. So that what that principle say? See here students, this principle say we achieve dynamic equilibrium. When we achieve the dynamic equilibrium, your system of the forces acting on the body should be what that statement say, your system of the forces acting on the body should be in equilibrium with the inertia force. So what is our inertia force here? Mass into acceleration. And if you take the summation of both, the summation is 0. So you remember here, what is the sign convention of this inertia force? Negative. And why we take negative sign? Because that inertia force is always in the opposite direction of the resultant force system. Okay. Now see here the basic difference between Newton's second law of motion and D'Alembert's principle. So what is that difference? Before discussing this difference, let us see another situation. So what is that figure? See this figure. So here one block is placed over the inclined surface at an angle theta. The mass of that block is m, or we can say w is the weight of that body. What is the weight of that body? W. Okay. And we know also you take care here the coordinate system. So your y-axis is this, means perpendicular to the inclined surface, and your x-axis is this, means parallel to the inclined surface. Okay. So follow this coordinate system. W is the weight of that block. So theta is nothing but angle of repose. So this theta and this theta, what is that theta? This is a frictional angle. Both are same. That we already know during statistics. We already discussed, or during friction chapter we know angle of repose and angle of frictions are same. Okay. So try to draw the free body diagram of this. So first show the weight of that body acting. So suppose let us we draw the free body diagram here. So this is your block. The weight is passing through the center in downward direction. This is a W. Okay. Next your direction of the frictional force. So what is the direction of the motion of that block? This direction, means your acceleration is in this direction. Okay. Now as the motion of the body is in this direction, where is your frictional force? This side. This is your frictional force, and we know frictional force is the product of coefficient of friction, here coefficient of kinetic friction, and normal reaction. So this n means it is perpendicular to the body and passing through the CG. Okay. So this is free body diagram. And also what is that angle? Theta. So if it is theta, then this W can be resolved in along x-axis and y-axis. So what is along y-axis? W. So W cos theta, and along x-axis what is your W sin theta. So you clearly observed in this figure. Okay. So this is the free body diagram. And also now with the help of that diagram, let us differentiate these two principles. That is, first principle is Newton's second law of motion, and second is D'Alembert's principle. So according to the Newton's second law of motion, we know the summation of all the forces acting on the body is equal to product of mass into acceleration. So let us take all the forces in x direction. So what is all the forces in x direction? W sin theta. So W sin theta this. So this is acting in the direction of the motion. Take positive. Minus mu kn, it is in the opposite direction of the motion. So take negative, is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. So this mass is mass of the body. Acceleration means the body will accelerate. So this is acceleration. It is equation, that is equation number 1. Take summation of f of y is equal to 0. So here student, remember why we take summation of f of y is equal to 0? Because here ay is equal to 0. Actually in equation number 1 a is nothing but ax, and in equation number 2 a is nothing but acceleration in y direction. And now tell me, any acceleration along y direction? No, acceleration along y direction is 0. So that's why we take acceleration in y direction is 0. So summation of f of y is equal to 0. Okay. So What is summation of f of y is equal to 0? See this free body diagram again. So n in positive y-axis, then w cos theta in negative y-axis is equal to 0. So you're getting these two equations according to the Newton's second law of motion. At the same time, let us use D'Alembert's principle. So what our D'Alembert's principle says? D'Alembert's principle means it is a dynamic equilibrium equation. So dynamic equilibrium equation means summation of f minus ma is equal to 0. So use this equation along x-axis. So summation of x minus max is equal to 0 along x-axis. Then along y-axis, summation of f of y is equal to 0. So why we take 0? We already know why. Along y-axis your acceleration 0. So again resolve this summation of f of y. So what is f of y? N is positive, then w cos theta is equal negative is equal to 0. So you getting this equation number 1 and 2. Now I think you understand the basic difference between these two. In Newton's second law of motion, this ma term is in LHS side, but in D'Alembert's principle we take this ma term in the RHS side and take the summation of this f and ma. Okay, so you remember these two difference, because after completing this concept we try to solve some example according to both the law. Okay, now move to the next slide. So this slide, see this slide. So what that slides describes here, it is a relation between acceleration of connected bodies. Okay, so see here, what is the description of this figure? One body A is placed over the surface having mass ma, and with the help of string, this is a string here, one string is attached to that block. Okay, one string is attached to the block. This is a string. So this string is attached to the block A, and this string, one end of the string is attached to the block A and one end is attached to the block B. This is block B, block A. What is the mass of block B? mb. Okay, so this is the situation. And one more important is here, this string is passing over the pulley. And which type of pulley here? This is a frictionless pulley as well as immovable pulley. So frictionless pulley means, what is the meaning of frictionless pulley? Means that string can easily move over the pulley without any obstruction. Means your friction is zero, frictional force is zero. So in another word, we can say the tension in this part of the string is equal to the tension in this part of the string. This T and T are same. Okay, that is the meaning. And one more is here, that pulley is immovable. So what is the meaning of this immovable pulley? Means this string is passing over the pulley, but after passing this string over the pulley doesn't move. Or in another word, the center of that pulley is not moved in any direction, that remains as it is. The center or CG of that pulley remains as it is. So that's why we say that pulley is immovable pulley. Okay, now let us see the free body diagram of this figure. So see the free body diagram of block number A. So what is the free body diagram of block number A, student? I think you know this free body diagram. So let us draw free body diagram of A. Suppose this is block A. First, I already said the first step while drawing the free body diagram is show the self weight of that block. So what is the self weight of that block? MAG, mass of that block into acceleration due to gravity. And what is the direction of that? In downward direction and passing through CG. Next important is here, when we cut this string, you getting tension in this side. So this is the tension in the string after cutting. And one more is here, what is the direction of the motion of that block? This direction. So this is A, acceleration, means your block will move in this direction, remember. So this is the free body diagram of block A. Now tell me, what is the free body diagram of your block B? Suppose here your block B is here. So we know first is self weight of that block, that is mass of the block into acceleration due to gravity. Next is, once you cut this string here, a tension get developed. So this is T and direction of the T is vertically upward. And tell me, student, what is the direction of the motion of block B? This is vertically downwards. And here we can say acceleration along block B. So this is AB and this is AA, acceleration over the block A, and AB is acceleration over the block B. Okay. And here why we take this T and T are equal? Because we know our pulley is frictionless as well as immovable, means whatever the tension getting in this string is exactly equal to the tension occurred in the second string. So this is the situation. Now let us see the relation between acceleration of connected bodies. So what is the relation of the connected bodies? See, if the bodies are connected by string or cable passing over an immovable pulley, this is very very important, students. Your pulley is immovable, then your displacement, then acceleration and velocity are same. Your displacement, acceleration and velocity are same. Again, see the statement. What is that statement says? If your bodies are connected by the string and that string is passing over the frictionless as well as immovable pulley, then the displacement, acceleration and velocity of both the block number A and block number B are same. Okay. Now see one by one. What is the displacement here? XA is equal to XB. So what is XA, student? See here, XA means displacement of block number A. And why I show the direction of the displacement this side? Because we know the direction of the block A is in this side. So your displacement of XA is here. And tell me, the student, where your XB, that is displacement of block B in the downward direction, that is XB. Okay. And both are same. But when both displacements are same, if the pulley is frictionless as well as immovable, that is important. Okay. Now next is your velocity of block A. This is velocity of block A and velocity of block B are same. Both the velocity of block A and velocity of the block B are same in this situation. Or why this V and VB are same? Because we know, suppose differentiate this with respect to t. What happens here? Suppose dxa divided by dt is equal to dxb divided by dt. We differentiate first equation with respect to time. So now tell me, student, what is the meaning of this? So this is nothing but VA is equal to VB. Velocity of block A is equal to velocity of block B. Means I think you understand second equation. Now similarly, your third equation, acceleration over A and acceleration over B. This acceleration A and acceleration for block B are same under this equation. And how it getting? Again you see, differentiate this second equation with respect to t. dVA divided by dt is equal to dVB divided by dt. Once we differentiate with respect to t, we know this is nothing but acceleration over A is equal to acceleration over B. Okay. So this is the very important relation, and remember, many times these relations may helpful during solving objective type of questions. Okay, because see here, in the objective question everything is given. Means your block A is connected to the string and this string is connected to the block B. Also in the question they mention your pulley is frictionless, immovable. Okay, and suppose in the question given acceleration 1 meter per second square, and they ask what is the acceleration for the block B. So no need to draw any FBD, no need to calculate any value. Directly we can say acceleration over A is equal to acceleration over B, because our pulley is frictionless and we already derived this. Okay, so friend, remember this concept, very important during solving objective questions. Move to the next slide. Now see this. So we discuss this slide in the next presentation. Okay, thank you for watching my videos.